What's up, everybody? I am Kay Marie.
I am Lou.
I'm Mary.
And we are
Murked in the Midwest. All right, so we are in our recap with Kay, Lou, and Mary.
Gang, gang. Hey, y'all.
And last week's episode, we talked about the Castro captives.
My God.
And how they were able to escape and that they did survive and that they are all now doing things
that are in the line of helping people who
Yep.
have experienced some form of trauma in that way.
Yep, getting the word out about missing persons and in that nature. It was making, I believe it was Michelle Knight, every time she got pregnant, making her miscarry.
Listen, a special place in hell is reserved for him.
Nah, the devil ain't even want him.
Like, no, send it back.
Is there a place worse than here?
I feel like when we talk about these cases too, a lot of times, this is maybe an hour long. So it kind of really glosses over what actually happened. But when you really think about like how long they were kept, a full baby was 6 years old at the time, right? When they were able to escape. That is like a lifetime almost of trauma, abuse, fear, and all these things. And to really think of how he captured them, like just on the guys
using the trust that they had,
right? Because this is my girl's dad. He gonna give me a ride. He was a creep.
So imagine your friend is like, "Hey, girl, I'm having a barbecue. Come over to the barbecue. Like, come on, we gonna put some chicken on the grill. We're gonna put some burgers. We got the brats, the hot dogs for y'all that eat nasty hot dogs. We got everything. Come on over." And so you like, cool. I'm gonna come over. And you done been at people's houses. You taste something. You like, this tastes funny. This tastes funny.
What's wrong with this food?
And so, like, people eating these burgers, and they like, I mean, it's a burger. Maybe they just didn't season it right.
Or maybe it's like venison. Maybe they got some, a different
real
meat.
fancy shit.
I'd be like, man, I just knew they couldn't season their food. Like, because what is this? What is this?
Why it tastes like that?
Then time passes. And you find out that this friend is being arrested for killing their past lovers, chopping up their body parts.
Honey,
and my nigga, you been eating feet.
You been...
Someone help us.
The sausage that you had.
It was not sausage. It was sausage.
It was sausage, all right.
It wasn't the right kind.
I'm sorry. I would have to fight. Like, I gotta go find you. If you in jail, I'm gonna have to do something. Put myself in jail real quick to go kick your ass.
I'm going to visit.
Stop rocking your shit.
Because you will never. You will never.
You don't want a foot burger?
Nah.
You should see the look she giving me. If looks could kill.
Because I came over here to get a burger. Like, I'm thinking beef. Maybe turkey if you want to try that.
What she thought was she was going to play some cornhole. She thought that she was going to have a lovely little barbecue meal, with a nice little gourmet bun or something. And they was going to shoot the shit. And then it was going to be a day. But what she got was strange meat.
Yeah.
Strange meat.
You can't eat at everybody's house.
That is the definition of you can't eat everybody's food.
I don't want to eat at nobody's house after hearing
No.
this story.
No.
I'm good.
I'm good.
Potluck? No, thank you.
No, I'm okay.
No, thank you.
Where did that meat come from? I need to see the receipts. I need to see videos.
I need to see. Yeah. Like, matter of fact, I'll bring the meat.
Well, show us the tutorial since you know everybody.
I will bring the meat, and then you could just throw it on the grill. How about that?
Don't you worry about fixing the meat up. Okay, So today's story, we are going to be talking about Kelly Cochran, aka the Devil Woman,
Mm.
Jason Cochran, her husband and victim, and Chris Regan, her ex-lover and victim.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So to begin, let's get the background on this crazy heifer. So, Kelly Cochran, if you're listening, we're talking about you.
Crazy bitch.
Great. Mhm. Okay, so Kelly was born on June 5th, 1982. She was born and raised in Maryville, Indiana, off of Mississippi Street, in an area that was Maryville up until the 90s when it was incorporated into the city of Hobart. Growing up, she lived pretty close to Jason Cochran,
Mm-hmm.
and they knew each other. They had similar interests, and they both basically had a little bit of a checkered past.
Mm.
So
Checkered.
yeah, it was
That
something.
ain't how they describe it.
That's a nice way of putting it.
Right.
It is something. Okay, so in her past, it's not known exactly when she began getting into trouble. However, her troubles were vast. She enjoyed using drugs, and those drugs were from anything as simple as alcohol and weed, all the way up to as heavy as heroin. And she would later, when she was on the stand for some of the things that she was responsible for, she stated that she was never really a consistent drug user. It wasn't like she was like a functioning addict. You know how there's some people out here in this world, they can do coke, they can do crack, they can do whatever, and they still hold a job and they still function and they still, manage their household, but they
functioning druggies.
It's the same thing as, like, they say functioning alcoholics, stuff like that. So no, completely understand.
Yep. She said that she would only do heroin a few times a year, and that she when she did it, it didn't last but for a couple of months for her, and then she would go back to not doing any drugs. But she also would pop pills. She did pretty much any kind of drug she could find. That was her MO.
Okay.
And when she stated how she used heroin, I did not. So I am not a druggie. I don't even have really an understanding. Besides seeing people who are addicts, like, oh my god, I don't want to be like that. But like, yeah, I'm gonna smoke weed before a lot. But however, when it goes to other harder drugs, this girl said that she would snort heroin. Did y'all know you could do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, whatever. Anyway, I didn't know you could do that.
Is heroin what they
I
call dog food?
I ain't never heard it be called dog
Oh,
food.
that my bad.
Is that meth?
No, like,
hold on.
Wait, why are we over here giving tutorials?
No, it's just for people like me who's like, I don't even get it. Because I honestly thought that heroin was something that you injected, so I would assume it's liquid.
Yeah,
street name. Snort it.
Street name for heroin is one of them is dog food.
Dog food. Why would they call it dog food?
Probably look like kibbles.
So yeah, heroin in the purest form is actually a white powder.
Okay.
And so normally when you see people like shoot it up and stuff like that, it's because they've cooked it down.
Okay, and then that's how they get into a liquid so they can inject it.
Yes.
But anyway, this girl was over here snorting heroin, injecting heroin, however she could get it. She was like, yeah, this is my extracurricular activity. Fuck baseball. Let me have some heroin. Okay? Now, what I will say from watching her and her interactions with people, from her statements and things like that, we do have to accept that she is a bit of a liar. Like, she lies all the time.
What's her sign? She was born when?
She was born June 5th.
Oh, she's a Gemini.
Oh, they lie a lot?
I don't know.
They have like 47 personalities.
So, you know what?
No. I think they just have two sides to them, and it depends on how you treat them. What side you
get.
That is
true. That is true. I have an ex that's a Gemini.
Like, I say, don't speak too bad on Gemini.
No, I don't have a problem with Gemini. But yes, some of them, they do have very flippant personalities.
Yeah. So some of my good friends are actually Gemini.
My sister's a Gemini too.
They are good souls. They are like the kindest people.
My ex-bae, he be listening to our podcast. He a Gemini.
Hey, ex-bae.
How you doing?
He crazy.
But yeah,
Okay.
this Gemini that we talking about today,
Nah,
Miss
she's-
Kelly.
We're gonna go ahead and vote her to be out of the Gemini club. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Crazy bitch.
Okay. So she's no longer a Gemini. She
No.
just born June 5th.
We denounced her.
Done not remove her. Anyway, so she just, would lie. She lied like a rug along, but here it is, whatever you want to call it. And I mean, about anything. It went from how often she would berate her husband to how often she was with her multiple people. Her, what do you call those? What did Jada call them?
Entanglements.
Her multiple entanglements. How many times she was with them? From the stories that she told her mom, because she would write her mom like long letters about her life and stuff. And she would just lie about everything. She would lie to her mom. She would lie to anybody who would listen. But she basically was growing up. She lived in this rural part of Hobart. Well, it was Maryville turned into Hobart. And so her house was on one side, and on the other side, they had like an empty lot where they raised animals. And when she did this is kind of where I'm getting, she got that hard work ethic, because even though this girl was a drug addict, lying heifer, she worked. One thing that could not be said about her was that she didn't work.
Oh, she was a hard worker.
She was a hard worker. She put in those.
She needed to be able to
support
afford her
my habit.
But not only that, like the people that work with her said that she was a good employee. So she had strong work ethic, even not just to be there to collect the money, but she did her jobs that she was supposed to do.
Absolutely. I mean, you got to.
Yeah, gotta keep the money going.
Yeah, you can't risk losing your job, and so you got to be a good employee when you go.
Some other things that I found really interesting. She had a degree in psychology.
Ooh.
Oh shit.
And she had classes, like she did like not a minor, she hadn't finished it, but it was for sociology. So she understood how to like read.
That makes sense, like later on down the line in her story, when it comes to her husband. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So now let's get to Jason. So Jason was her husband, Jason Cochran. He also was from the Maryville area, which subsequently turned into Hobart. They lived in the same area. They were childhood friends. His childhood is more vague than hers, whereas you knew that she had a mom, she had a brother, she had some issues, and it was really clear and defined what she was doing, and that she went to juvenile detention, all this shit. With him, there's nothing that said like he was getting in trouble or anything like that. There's no explanation as to why this man started using drugs, but he did. But anyways, their connections were they used drugs together, they played video games, and they were friends. They were neighborhood, childhood friends. Okay. As an adult, though, he was pretty successful. Actually, he had a pool business that they built pools, maintenance pools, and did like hot tubs and stuff. So he had a pretty lucrative living, and was doing pretty well for himself. And in that adulthood, he got injured, and started using the drugs a little bit more heavily. And
does it say how he got injured exactly?
It doesn't, but the way that Kelly alluded to when she was talking was it was from work, like from him working hard. He had a bulging disc and sciatic pain. So I'm assuming maybe that part of what she was saying was true and that he hurt himself in that way. But basically what happened in their 20s, they got married. And both of their families were like kind of excited for it, because they thought that them two getting together would kind of help them wean away from
like
those,
even them out,
stop those bad habits, maybe get them to straighten up, get on the right track. And for a while, it seemed like that. Okay, another person who is prominent in this case is Walt Ammerman. Walt was actually friends with Kelly and Jason. He was actually initially friends with Jason.
So it's one of those, I'm friends with you, but I guess since you're dating her, I'll be friends with her too.
Yep.
Okay.
He spoke nothing but highly of Jason. He said how they enjoyed playing video games together online, and how they had interacted. He talked very highly about the business that Jason had started, which was the pool company, and how he was pretty successful at it. He did say that there were dark sides that he saw brought out once he was with Kelly. When he was with Kelly, it was almost like he took more of a back seat in his life. He allowed his wife to kind of control some things. And he
some
said
people ain't gonna like hearing that.
Listen,
the woman controlled things,
and it wasn't really that it bothered him. He just said it was something that he noticed. But he said his wife, however, when she met Kelly, she never liked her.
Oh, that woman's intuition.
No shit, now.
She said, "Now get this." Which we'll get to, and maybe I'm spoiling a little bit.
Spoiler alert!
Spoiler alert!
When Jason had I'm hyphenating here, had a overdose, his wife's first words out of her mouth was, "Kelly killed him."
Oh!
Hey, yo.
She sound like me. Whenever I hear something, I'll be like,
You know, she did it. She did that.
That bitch is guilty.
Guilty. Put her in jail. So she never trusted her. She did not like her. There was just something that was about that.
What's the wife's name?
Now, he never said what his wife's name is. I'm sure we can look it up. But he is out there. He seemed like a lovely gentleman. His name was Walt Ammerman, here, right in this good old local area. Stand-up guy. But he was definitely involved and interacting with both of them. So he was someone who, when they were in this area, because they lived in Hobart for a while after they were married and had their business and stuff together, he was involved with them both almost on a daily basis, from interacting with them socially, like in public, and also from the video games, phone calls, stuff like that, just being friends.
Mm-hmm. And if y'all not familiar with the Hobart area, Hobart is very small. It ain't like it's like it's a small city, little town. But
it is a city. It's technically a city. They have a mayor,
right?
But it does give you a small town.
It gives you small town vibes because, like, literally, you can just like sneeze and be right through it. But everybody and their mama knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. That's how small it is.
And it's a nice place. Just giving you some background, since we are a Midwest podcast.
Gang, gang.
Hobart is actually a really nice city. Mm-hmm. It has a really cute downtown area where you can go. You know, you can do other things besides get murdered.
Shout out to El Capitan.
And also, if you want to have you a little coffee, you go to Sip House and enjoy your little coffee. You can go walk around Lake George. You can go fish in Lake George. You can ride the pedal bikes in Lake George. You can actually, in the summertime, they have a really fun festival that happens, and you can watch movies at nighttime once the sun goes down. You can have some tacos. You can have some street corn, all that stuff. They have art. They have all different kinds of music. Like, there's lots of things that happen in Hobart. It's a really nice, diverse city. Yes, it is. However, there are people, like, this is a girl who's running around, so just watch out for them. People that might get you, who make pacts with their husbands about killing folks.
Crazy.
Look cuckoo. So that is Walt in a nutshell. He was really just a good friend of the family. And even when there were things that were strange, he never did really separate from his friend, which is really cool. Because sometimes people be like, nah, I ain't feeling her, so now I'm not going to talk to you. So he did stick with his friend, even though his friend had a crazy wife. And his friend did some crazy stuff, too.
That's my friend, and I'm going to stick beside him.
Okay.
All right, so we have Christopher Reagan. He was age 53. He was a hardworking individual. He managed to establish a life for himself. He was employed at a factory in Iron River, Michigan. So his job involved like manufacturing components for naval ships and stuff like that.
That's actually pretty cool. That's a cool job.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for supporting our U.S. Military services, sir. We appreciate all the work that you did.
Exactly. And so he did actually have a loving relationship with his partner, Terry O'Donnell. And that was until he met Kelly Cochran through work.
Terry was a former friend, girlfriend, and like again, current girlfriend, but then ex of
Mhm.
On
Chris
again,
Rea.
off again.
On again, off again. So basically, they were both from that Upper Peninsula area of Michigan. They lived in this area called Iron.
Hold on. It is Iron Rock? Iron River.
Iron River, Michigan. So in the Upper Peninsula area, they both were from that area.
Mhm.
He had moved away to another area, but then came back. She never moved. She stayed in her area where she grew up at. So they knew each other when they were young, were dating, and then of course he moved. So then the relationship changed, and when he came back, they got reconnected. And she spoke about how much fun, how kind he was, a very generous man, very loving, and how he made her feel, which of course is when we know how that can be. When someone is in your corner, it makes you feel amazing. Like you can't even stop saying enough of the good stuff about them because really at the end of the day, it's not like you want a million things. You want someone who is a partner who is interested in the things that you're interested in, and someone who really is like emotionally connected to you.
Yeah.
So he
Makes
made
you
her
feel like you're a priority.
yeah, he made her feel all of that stuff. So that was like her boo. Um, but it did get to a point in their relationship this second time around where she was just like, this is not going to work for me. And it was after he had divulged to her that he really had this kind of addiction to porn.
Mm.
Now, I mean, to each his own. Everybody has their limits of the things that they can and cannot take. And for her, it was just she just thought it was not for her.
Yeah.
And so with that, she didn't completely remove herself from him. They still remained friends.
But it was just like, I can't be with you in that romantic aspect.
So they still talked every day. They text message. They let each other know like what they were doing, where they were going, what was expected. And Chris had some really exciting things happening. So he had like hurt himself, hurt his knee, and it was becoming harder for him to do that work that you were talking about. That what was it? The shipyard work,
manufacturing components. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so he had actually gotten an offer to do an office job, but it was in North Carolina. So he was super excited about it. He asked Terry to help him like pack up and move or pack up his things, like his stuff from his apartment. And she was like, "Of course, I'll help you or whatever." And literally, the only thing that he was waiting on was he had to get like this physical to clear him to be able to go. That's all that the job required. Like he had the job, but had to get the physical. So that was like the last that she had heard from him. Oh, but you know what? Okay, so sidebar. There are so many things that kind of cover this story, and I really enjoyed the docu-series they had, and Terry was on it giving her perspective of him, and she actually knew Kelly.
Oh wow.
And she was just talking about how things progressed and happened. So we can get to that later, but she was really interesting to watch.
Okay, so yeah, so basically Kelly and Christopher, they did develop a sexual relationship. And they kept it a secret from both of their partners, and that was until October 14th, 2014. It was on this day that Christopher decided he wanted to stay with Terry and end his affair. And so we can imagine that Kelly didn't take this news the best.
Well, you know what she said? Kelly's rendition, because I told y'all she lied a lot. Her rendition of the facts and things that happened. She said that he did not call it off with her, that he was moving to North Carolina, and that he asked her to come with him, and that Terry was basically no longer in the picture. Now, what Terry says is that she was no longer dating him, but she was fully in the picture because they talked every day, which phone records backed up. And also, let's say that the phone records did show that he didn't have no conversations with Kelly's old crazy ass. But okay, Kelly, you got it, girl. He was taking you with him. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And so there was a point. So Kelly got upset
Mhm.
And she decided that it was time to tell her husband, and she's going to tell him about the affair, and they had, and act upon their little pact that they had.
Y'all, do you want to hear the craziest shit I've ever heard? Now, when we all get like, I mean, I've never been married. I've dated, but I know a lot of people that's been married, and they make agreements about who gonna do the laundry, who gonna cook.
Yeah.
Who's gonna be responsible for this?
Mhm.
What are we gonna decide to do with our children? Where are we gonna live?
Are we going 50-50 or not?
Right. Those are the kind of pacts that most people do. Right?
Right.
Well, according to Kelly and her marriage, what got them going on their honeymoon was, if you ever have an affair, well, then I get to kill your lover.
If anybody
I would kill
is
your
willing,
motherfucking ass for cheating on me.
No,
First
no,
of
no,
all,
hold on.
no. If anybody agrees to committing infidelity with them, then this pact was that they can kill them.
Yeah.
See, that's the type of shit motherfuckers should not want to be wrapped up in.
But the thing is like, if we really believe her rendition of events,
Which she be lying.
she be lying. But I
Bitch,
mean,
lying
maybe he
through
was
her
crazy because he was doing heroin with her. He
Yeah.
was, and that was reported by friends and everything, right? But if that was what it was, then they both was crazy. They both were full blown fucking insane.
Oh yeah, they took that whole "I ain't got no exes" to another level. You know how people be like,
They did
anybody
too.
that I dated before 21, they don't count. That was just a test, a
Yeah.
trial, and all that.
Mhm.
They was like, no, literally anybody I dated before you, during you, does not exist.
They're dead.
They
to me.
dead.
They
They're dead to me.
They're dead to everybody because we gonna kill them.
Right.
What the hell?
And so the next day, Christopher, he has planned to spend the night with Cochran. Of course, unaware that she
lured him, y'all. She
Yeah.
lured him.
Of course, unaware that she had this conversation with her husband about him. She invited him over, and they did have sex. And while they were having sex, her husband shot him in the head. And so the gunshot was heard by neighbors.
So, I mean, I guess just to get into it, since we just went there. So what happened is she literally lured him over with the enticement of sex. And Terry, who was the ex-girlfriend, but still very close friend to Chris, she had said that the reason she had broke up with him was because he had this like unnatural addiction to porn. I mean, he had shared it with her, but she said for her it was too much.
Yeah.
And she was like, it wasn't right for her.
So she didn't even know about the affair.
So
she ended it with him.
She knew that Kelly was around. She didn't know they were having that affair.
Okay. But the reason why she ended it was because of the porn addiction.
Okay. And so after she broke up with him, then Kelly fills in this slot and is basically feeding all those desires that he has. Because Kelly don't give a shit about nothing besides drugs.
And she's, of course, the whole psychology part plays into it of, I'll be this person that he needs me to be. Probably thinking like, there's a way for me to get him to the point where I can manipulate him, blah, 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 blah.
And honestly, if you really look at Kelly, most of her relationships were manipulation. They were some form of manipulation, from her husband to Chris to these other lovers that we'll get into. But she lures him over to the house. And as you said, they were literally in the thralls of being passionate. And her husband shoots him in the back of the head. So that means she is looking at him as he is doing this. According to her. This is according to her.
So she was looking at him. She states she was looking at him.
This is according to her. This is what she stated. But my thing, which we will get into because she does lie a lot. This was never said by him. Jason never admitted to any crime. There was nothing that was defined or put into play that showed he did anything.
Mm.
These could be just things that she said. So now let's get into the murder and what actually happened.
Crazy stuff.
Because how did she get this nickname of the Devil Woman? Well, let us tell you. First, it begins with in the month of October of 2014, Chris Regan is missing.
Mm.
And how do we know this? We know this because Terry O'Donnell, his on-again, off-again girlfriend and long-term friend, is looking for him because he had made plans with her to help him pack up his apartment so he could make this move to North Carolina. Well, when she comes by, because they had made a date and a time arrangement, he's nowhere to be found. Well, she initially felt like this is weird and strange and off because he's just not that type of person. If he makes a plan with her, he sticks by it. He wouldn't just call her over there. He ain't like some of these dudes who call you over there and then they just off and out, through the world.
Boo, what you doing?
Right. And then they want to act like they don't know you had damn plan.
Not bad.
I forgot. I was asleep. I was da. Oh, I got hung up with my friend.
I got locked up. I was in jail. I've heard that one too.
They won't let me
out.
Not you that pulled up Pink Whitney.
We get lit on a podcast, y'all.
Listen, I'm already a little lit. And this girl is pulling out damn travel size shot
of vodka.
Of pink vodka.
Oh Lord.
Here. So I'm gonna refrain from this for a moment until I get to some more of the story for you. But I can't promise that the whole episode I'm gonna be litty.
The words start slurring.
When Terry gets to the apartment, she sees that he's not there. Like I said before, he wasn't that type of person, so she became nervous. So when she went to work, she actually was talking to her coworkers about it. She was like, y'all, something is really strange. Chris asked me to help him pack, get prepared for his move. I get there, he's not there. They're like, girl, calm down. This
man ain't y'all ain't even together.
Right. What are you worried
Why
about?
You so worried about him? You still hung up on him, girl.
Let your emotions go, huh? Cleanse your aura and get you a new man.
He ain't shit.
Yep. He likes fucking porn anyway. All he do is beat it off.
That pervert.
Right. And this man, in her opinion, he's been good to her. So she's concerned because she knows him. She knows his character. She knows that he ain't out here just leaving her by the wayside because he's never done it before. So why would he start now?
But at this point, she still didn't know that at one point he had an affair.
She said that she knew he was dating other women. He didn't know about Kelly. She didn't know that he was messing with Kelly like that. Like she knew who Kelly was. Yeah,
but she doesn't know that while him and her were still together, that he was having an affair. Yeah. So in her eyes, though, he is still this he was the perfect man outside of this addiction.
Right. Outside of the sex addiction, or not sex addiction, this porn addiction. He was the guy for her.
Okay.
And really, he did treat her well.
Yeah.
It was just that he had these issues as far as porn. So she's very concerned. She said almost immediately she knew something was wrong. So some days go by and she hears nothing from him. So she's like, you know what? I know the HR lady at his job. They were good friends. Like they grew up together. She knew this lady. She's like, I'm going to just talk to her. See if she's seen him. Knows like if something going on. Like did they tell him he's not getting the job and so now he's depressed or something? She talks to her. He has not been to work for a week. And now she's like, at that point, beyond the fact when she knew within herself, like, I know something is wrong here. This doesn't seem right. When she heard that, she knew immediately it was something really wrong. Because out of everything, he might date other women. Yeah, he might be addicted to porn. But one thing he ain't going to do is fuck up that money.
Yeah.
He going to work. He collecting them checks. He getting his shit done. So she goes to the police with this information. She's like, look, this is my ex-man. He asked me to help him pack and move. I know this sounds like it's not a big deal. He hasn't shown up to work in a week. I haven't received a phone call from him. We literally talk
Something
every
is
day,
clearly wrong.
and something is really wrong. So the police, of course, start with work. They go, well, I think that they went to the apartment to see if they could see anything. Nothing seemed off or wrong. So they went to the work. They're talking with them. They hadn't seen him in a week at that point. And when they were talking to the HR lady, she told them, but she didn't tell Terry, probably because she wanted to spare Terry's feelings. The rumor going around the place was Kelly and him were having an affair.
I mean, outside of that, she probably felt like she couldn't with her being HR.
Well, maybe. Maybe, yeah.
Like, I can disclose this information to the police.
But I can't tell you.
Yeah. Because if it come back how you found out about it, then I lose my job.
Right. For telling you something that I shouldn't have told you in the first
Yeah.
place. Now, the interesting part was Kelly, like I said, had this crazy work ethic, right?
Mhm.
This girl was working all kinds of jobs because on top of working at this naval place that Chris worked at, she was working and still doing the pool stuff on the sides on the weekends. She would travel back to Indiana and do the pool work.
Mhm.
So she was just out here working like a
She
little
said
slave.
she getting to the bag.
Right. Ain't nothing slowing it down. Not dick, not pussy, not nothing.
Not murder, nothing.
None of the above.
So they continue on to their investigation, really trying to figure out what has happened. Well, they are looking around, they're asking for tips and things like that, and they find his car in this park and go. It was like a carpool parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really odd to Terry because he loved this car. Like he loved, you know how some men they do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people shoot in
I was
general.
about to say, yeah, I was about to say, I know some women.
They love that car. And they ain't parking their baby nowhere besides in the garage with like the perfect amount of heat, the perfect amount of moisture control.
Yeah.
Like you better oil my wheels, don't talk to me, don't touch my car, don't even look at me, don't breathe on my car. Find something else to do with yourself.
Absolutely.
So
that's how he was with his car.
That's how he was with his car. He wasn't leaving it anywhere. And she was like, this is really strange. He would never park it in this park and go lot. And when she had seen, because Terry had actually seen the car too, and when she got there, she saw on the desk or on the dash a post-it note, and she was like, "It looks like it has directions on it." Like Terry is out here
playing the detective. She doing the work.
Pink Panther in it.
She doing the work.
She said, "I got all the clues," but she sees this post-it. She's talking to the police officer. Her name is Laura. And she's giving this information to Laura. And Laura's like, well, it sounds like directions. She's like, it doesn't say where it's directions to. Well, Laura pops that information in. Guess where the directions was to? Who can anybody guess?
Kelly Cochran.
Kelly Cochran's house. Directions right to Kelly's house.
Right into her pussy. I'm sorry. Excuse me.
So anyways, now the detectives have something. And they have more than just the hearsay of people and coworkers. They have direct evidence that is linking that, honey, he's been around you somewhere. So now police are on Kelly's trails. They go to her home. They talk to her about Chris. And they're like, hey, you know what? Remember your coworker, that one that you fell on the stick? We have been having trouble finding him. Have you seen or talked to him or heard from him? Oh, no.
Of course not.
Who? Chris, who? What? I don't know.
Ma'am.
Oh, you want me to stop lying?
Ma'am.
Oh, well, I don't know.
Have you seen this man?
No, I have not. I do not recall.
I do not recall.
Sorry to that man.
So anyway, they ask, but they get nowhere because she is lying and being evasive, and they have nothing really to hold her with besides directions that were on his dash.
And we already didn't confirm y'all was having sex, so that could have just been him.
Mm-hmm. Having
like that's not evidence that she committed murder.
Right. It's not even evidence that he's dead. Really.
Yeah.
It's just evidence that we don't know where
they've been nooking.
They've been nooking. They've been
bumping boots. knocking boots.
Somebody rocking, knocking.
Okay. So now they are like, what do? We have to investigate and see what is going on with this man. Where is he? Why would he just up and leave? He has strong ties to the community. He has 2 children. They don't know where their daddy is. Girlfriend don't know where the daddy is. Sister girl online is saying she don't know where yet. So they continue to investigate. And as this investigation continues, it actually goes cold. It goes cold because they have no idea what has happened to him. It almost just seems as though he's disappeared.
Okay.
He vanished in the thin air. He just poof, gone. Whole person gone. Picked up by aliens, maybe. So as time and everything goes on, they have their daily functions and activities. They have barbecues at their home. They have all different kinds of things, right?
Because they're the it couple.
The it couple.
It girl. It girl.
Well, it becomes really strange and strained, right? Kelly and her husband had been in the Upper Peninsula now for a little while. They had become rooted in the community. People knew who they were.
Mm-hmm.
They had friends with their neighbors and stuff. And then kind of like all of a sudden, they're like, we have to go now. And it just so happened to correlate with when police had a small little bit of a link that connected them and the disappearance of Chris. Now all of a sudden, we got to make this hasty dash and move.
We got to move.
They didn't even pack up their house, y'all. They didn't pack up shit. They put only the things that they could fit in the truck that they took with them, and they skidooed right the fuck up out of there.
Blue skidoo, we can
too. So it's like, this is real suspicious. We might be on to something that's actually accurate here.
We might be doing our job.
No, they was getting there, right? So
they always too late though.
It is too late. The poem. So anyways, Kelly and her husband go back to Hobart where they knew, their families and everything lived in this community. And when they got back this time, it was said that it was more strained and more odd. Whereas before, the people who knew them, like Walt, Kelly's brother, her mom, his family, they all said that it was really evident that Kelly was now like really the person in control. Where before she was dominant, she was like telling this man, you will cook, you will clean, you will da 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 da. Don't do anything outside of the house.
She was like, you killed my lover, now I run.
So she's really running the household, and he is literally at home and not working. Now she says it like she was the provider for the house, and he just didn't work, almost in the way of like, how when someone says something but they're not saying something. And she was saying it like, oh, this lazy nigga didn't fucking go to work.
Like I had to step up and do this because
that's the way she was acting. She was acting like, I'm the breadwinner because he won't go do no damn work, even though the business that you're doing the work in is because he started it. But whatever. And so this continues. Well, one day, just in their home, Jason overdoses, apparently. 911 is called. They come, they get him, and now the family is like, what the hell you mean he fucking overdosed? One thing that I did forget to add, when they were being investigated in the Upper Peninsula by the police, they were both separately interviewed by the police.
Okay.
And whereas Kelly was very unemotional, just like answer the questions real matter of factly that the police had for her, like,
I ain't got time for this.
I ain't got time for this shit. It was said that Jason was very emotional, like he was guilt-ridden, even though he never admitted to doing anything.
I mean,
he seemed troubled.
Shooting a man in the back of your head could do that to you.
But what if he never shot anybody? What if he felt guilty because he was covering up for his damn wife? Maybe he wasn't a killer, and maybe the crazy bitch was.
But you still an accessory.
Right. So he's feeling guilty. She ain't got no damn
Was
emotion.
he in an abusive relationship?
Guilty by
I really
association.
feel like it because, like, if you remember the account that Walt said, that it was almost like she couldn't have, or he couldn't have any fun if she wasn't present. When she came into the house, he had to run and get off the dang on computer.
What a loser ass bitch.
Like,
So yeah, he was in an abusive relationship, and he probably was scared to say what she had done, and it probably got to the
It's
point
giving
where
emotionally abusive.
yeah, it
Mhm.
probably got to the point where he was showing or like feeling like he was about to break, and he was gonna tell what had happened, and that's when he overdosed.
yeah. So of course, because now this is two people have been in between her legs. They have now croaked over.
Mm.
And remember when I
What's
told
it
you
called?
before,
Black Widow.
his friend Walt, when he found out about his death, he was very shocked that his friend overdosed from heroin. Not that his friend had never done drugs before, but just very shocked that he overdosed. And the thing is that he knew that Kelly and Jason did the drugs together. So he's like, is Kelly dead too? No, Kelly ain't dead, but he's dead. So he tells his wife. His wife says, that bitch did it. And then, so he, being the man that he was, listened to his wife. And so
that's what I'm talking about.
Thank you. I'm telling you, I like Walt. Walt seemed like a stand-up kind of guy. Okay. Anyway, so he calls the FBI. He like, I don't know what's really going on here. You know, my friend told me that they moved back because this is the other part. When they moved back, Jason did divulge to them that they had been under investigation for a missing person. So he found that a little strange. But anyways, he listens to his wife. He calls the FBI. He's like, you know what? I have some friends that moved back from the Upper Peninsula, and one of them just overdosed. And he told them who his friends were, and the FBI goes, because they had already been investigating this with Laura from the Upper Peninsula in that Iron River community, and they go, it was Jason, wasn't it? Because everybody knows.
Wow.
Everybody know Kelly crazy, y'all. Kelly is on that shit.
She on that shit again.
Man.
So now this opens up a whole wormhole. Before anything is done to the body, they don't even have to exhume it. They do an autopsy on Jason. Guess what they find about Jason? Y'all think he actually died from overdose?
Heck, no.
He actually died from asphyxiation. He did have a very high amount of heroin in his body, but he was asphyxiated. Can we guess who did it?
I am going to guess Miss Kelly.
Yes.
Kelly, you are the winner. Come on down.
What do you win? Life in prison.
Yes.
Literally.
So once they figure out that he actually did not overdose, they have a case now because he died from asphyxiation. They have a case, so they arrest her. So not for the missing person, because he's still missing. Chris was still in the Upper Peninsula considered missing. And they arrest her for the death of her husband.
So I have here that, so basically, like you said, the EMTs had declared it was an overdose, all that good stuff. They said that Kelly was acting, she had like exhibited like disruptive behavior as they were trying to resuscitate him. And so, you know, once it came out that they suffocated him, she actually did hold a memorial service for him. And she did all of the online posting of, this is an incredibly difficult situation to cope with.
Did she do a GoFundMe?
I don't know. She began selling all her belongings.
Oh, I bet she did.
And without notifying her relatives, she fled from Indiana, and that was on April 26th.
Of course she did.
And so it was after that they ruled Jason's cause of death as asphyxiation that she became a fugitive. And that's when they pressed all the charges against her, you know, including murder, home invasion, concealing the death of an individual, lying to a police officer, all of that. It's funny though, because like despite being a fugitive, she stayed in contact with the investigators through text messages.
Because
hell,
this girl, I'm telling y'all, she was a whole different level.
But I already know what y'all gonna say after I say this next part.
Okay, go ahead.
She, in her messages, she was like falsely claiming to be hiding on the West Coast, hoping to mislead the police. But of course, they easily traced her phone's track.
Because it's a cell phone, you
It's
moron.
pinged to the fucking nearest tower, jackass.
Oh my god. Oh, I'm in Indonesia.
They found they traced
next tower over Mirabel.
They traced her location to Wingo, Kentucky. And it was on April 29th that she was arrested.
Stupid ass. Girl, baby, bye. Somebody, I'm glad they came and got her.
So yeah, after she was arrested, can y'all believe what she did? Guess what she did?
What'd she do? Let me see. She probably was like, you know what? I'm a come clean, y'all. I'm not a bad person. I am a battered woman. This is the Me Too movement. Include me. Me too.
Me too. Me too. You are spot on. She disclosed the whereabouts of Reagan's remains. So that's Christopher. She told them where his remains were, and she provided information about the murder weapon to the authorities. So yeah. That's what she did. She
of course had to add, Jason made me do all of it. I didn't want to do none of it. He actually murdered him. It wasn't me, officer. Believe me, I'm a good person.
So yeah, she blamed everything on Jason, stated that he made her do it. Played the battered wife, all that good stuff. And she actually during court stated that she had contemplated killing Jason instead of Regan because he had taken the only good thing from her.
Which makes no sense, people.
At all, because if you were contemplating this while Reagan was still alive, then that means he hadn't taken anything from you yet. And then you also saying that I contemplated killing Jason instead of Creasy, which is implying that you did kill Christopher.
Correct.
And it's just like,
girl, I don't know if it's the drugs or if she's just really a bad liar.
I don't know.
Or a combination of both.
So basically it came out later that when they were doing the ID documentary and everything on it, that some neighbors said they believe they were actually served human remains, possibly Regan's, at a barbecue. One person was interviewed and stated they described eating a strange tasting burger without realizing at the time it could have been human.
Now, this actually is substantiated by actual testimony of Kelly, in the way of she tries to again pin this on the now deceased husband that she killed. When the prosecutor asked her about a conversation she had with her brother, she says the prosecutor asked her if she remembered speaking with her brother and saying that she fed Chris's remains to the pigs that they had. And she says she didn't do it. Jason did it. And then when asked, was this true or was she lying then or is she lying now? Because she said that no one fed any of Chris's remains to anything. And so no one, no body, no pigs, no nothing. She is like, well, I was lying then. So it's really hard
to know
what is the truth. But it kind of makes me feel like if the neighbors ate some strange meat and they remember it, they all have this memory of eating something that was odd.
And she did admit to shooting him and dismembering him.
She dismembered him.
She did admit to that.
When they looked for his remains, all they found was his skull. They never did find the rest of his body. What happens? The bodies don't disappear into thin air. Now they do degrade over time, but we're only talking a 2-year period. It's not going to decay that quickly where there's nothing left besides the skull,
Mm-hmm.
because bones usually do last. So what happened to his body? It is quite possible that this crazy psycho fed him to the neighbors.
Yeah. Just some more information about her. So she was sentenced, if you guys can't figure that out yet,
Yeah.
to life in prison. But while she was in jail, she spent her time turning glasses into shanks
Fantastic. That's a great prison activity, y'all.
and was threatening to commit suicide as well as bodily harm to anyone who came near
Okay.
her.
Just an all around stand up woman. Great. So what is she doing now? Like, and she was making shivs for a while. Is she still alive in prison, or is she just? I mean, she's not dead yet, right?
No, she's still alive. Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
lovely.
and so Terry O'Donnell spoke about it, and she says that she was terrified of Cochran. She said the first time I saw her was in the courthouse. I just remember her staring at me and grinning. I took a deep breath and thought she was the scariest person I've ever seen. I was afraid. I couldn't look at her for the rest of the time I was there testifying. It was like she was laughing and saying, "Look at what I did. You can't stop me." She just sat there and grinned. It was like the devil looking at you. And after I testified, I lost it. I totally lost it. I just remember driving, speeding, not knowing if I had crossed the border. I didn't know if I was in Wisconsin or Michigan. I didn't know what to do. I just wanted to run as far away from Kelly as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And so she actually told Michigan authorities on the site where parts of the rifle used to shoot Regan were found, as well as the bullet. That's where they found the skull with a bullet hole, a pair of eyeglasses that they believed belonged to him. Um, and there was so much like out there that they were saying that they didn't think that these were Kelly's first murders.
Well, no, because she had other lovers, which I said I was going to get to, and I forgot to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
But she had a boyfriend named Ken, and she also had a lover. I forget what her name was, but it was a woman. And basically, at the height of her infidelity, and this is while she was in Michigan, she would go to work her 12 hours. Then she would go her 10 to 12 hours. Then she would go to Chris's home, bang him, have dinner. She would actually cook him food, bang him, leave him,
Goddamn.
go to Ken, bang him, leave him, meet up with Coochie Girl, and then go home to her
Coochie Girl.
husband.
We're gonna name this episode Coochie Girl.
Listen, but go from there and go to her husband, who she says sometimes when she would be getting there, he would be leaving out to start his day on different activities. If it was to go fishing or whatever it was that he was doing. But that's how active she was. That thing was hot. It was like, ooh, how Karen, do y'all watch Potomac? How Karen said that Giselle had that hot box. Now listen, this one had a hot box. It was hot. It was
so
irritating.
So, so part of their, like their reasoning behind it was that they made a very clear point, and they were saying like there's no way that Chris was the first person that she murdered, because there's no way that this is the first person you choose to kill and you're able to clean up the blood, get rid of the body so the FBI agents can't pull DNA off the walls, to do what they had did to him. Like there's no way it could have been
that
her
perfect.
first. Yeah, like shooting somebody, that's one thing, but
what she said though when she was in trial was because she had been cleaning pools and maintaining them for so long, she knew the chemicals that would eat up human DNA and stuff like that.
That's
which
diabolical.
Which is quite possible,
Mhm.
but how do you know how to do it so thoroughly? Because usually people will clean very well, but they'll forget to pull the trap, and then there'll be blood residue. Or they'll forget, you know how like your shower, it has that thing that covers it, and then down in it, like around the crease, it'll have something. Or they'll miss sweeping up something. So those are very, very valid points. My other theory, this is just me, Lou, listening to this crazy bitch and coming up with some shit because that's Virgo in me. When she said all of this, I thought it was very unbelievable. First, let me start from the beginning. I just don't think that it's believable that her and her husband got together and decided to make a murder pact on their wedding night. Y'all getting married, knocking the boots.
It was probably high. They could have been high.
And pillow talk was, if you ever fuck somebody else, I'm killing them, and if I ever fuck somebody else, you killing them.
It's not that weird of a conversation unless y'all taking it serious. Because I've heard people joke and be like, "Hey, if you ever cheat on me, both of y'all gotta go."
Okay, that's
fine. Everybody.
Yeah. But she's saying it like it was a pat, like this is
no, that's what I'm saying. What she's saying is just crazy.
So that's the first thing I had problems with. Second thing I had problems with. You making all these accusations, ma'am. Has anyone heard of "Don't Speak Ill of the Dead"? The man is not here to defend himself. Where is there anything, anywhere that anybody has written, statement, video, chat, anything where Jason admitted to doing anything?
No.
What it seems like is y'all got terrified. He was terrified and spooked, and y'all moved like ships and thieves in the night. Okay. And then the next thing you know, he overdosed and he damn dead.
Yep.
So did he really shoot him? Did he really shoot him in your basement, ma'am?
Don't know.
We don't know. We know it ain't no evidence in that fucking basement.
And we know you a liar.
We know you a liar. Did he really even die in that damn basement? His car's all the way the fuck over here. How the fuck did he get there? Ma'am, I just don't believe. I do not believe it. I don't believe it.
So her family told investigators that they believe that she might have killed as many as 9 people and buried their bodies throughout the Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
She can't be prosecuted in Indiana for any additional murders because that was part of her plea deal in Jason's death.
Why are we making plea deals with this fucking crazy bitch? If
she provides locations of other victims, she can do so and not face additional charges in the Hoosier state. She claimed to having other friends buried in Indiana, Michigan, Tennessee, and Minnesota.
Who buries their fucking friends?
However, the identities and specific locations of the bodies remain a mystery to this day. So in total, she was sentenced to life in prison without parole in May of 2017 for Regan's murder.
Mm-hmm.
And then she got an additional 65 years in prison for the murder of Jason in Indiana.
That seems fair. I mean, too bad we can't give her the freaking electric chair. Can we fry her up? Actually, because I know they do lethal injection now because that's supposed to be more humane. I really like the idea of, can we go back to the gallows? Can we just hang her ass?
Or let's chop her up, barbecue her, and feed her to the dogs.
I mean, she thinks it's cool to feed people to pigs, so.
So this concludes today's episode. So if you have any cases you want to hear about, if you have any constructive criticism, some feedback, a shout out, a case you might want to hear, let us know. Email us at murkinthemidwest@gmail.com. And also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music, Audible, and iHeartRadio. Bye.
Bye.